anything you say is being recorded as well as your video. So don't do anything embarrassing. Also, I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody so we can avoid some feedback. If you're joining us through the video, you will, sorry, there we go. Now everybody's muted. So if you're joining us through video and you want to speak, you're going to have to unmute yourself. That's on the bottom bar. There's a little microphone. You can mute and unmute yourself. If you're joining us via phone, which I see a couple people calling in, you will be muted. And to unmute yourself, you will have to click *6. I think that is, hold on. Yes, those are all my housekeeping rules. Let's see. Oh, you're muted, Morgan. You're muted. Sorry. There you are.
You know, I want to thank you all for tuning in. I think it's very important for us to have as much interaction with the community as possible. Obviously, you know, this COVID-19 has put us all in a very precarious situation. I was just informed today that a member of our Northeast community and someone that attends our meeting, he lost his sister-in-law to COVID this week. And you know, this stuff is very real. Most people don't believe it's real until it impacts them. But like I said, you know, one of our fellow Northeasterners who initially was somewhat opposed to all the lockdowns, he realizes how significant it is now because it touched his home, and, you know, reached out and hurt him. So, you know, that's where we're at right now. So I would ask you guys to continue to be safe and practice social distancing the best you can, and you know, just use the best hygiene, wash your hands and that you can, and well, let's keep everyone safe. Well, this meeting today is going to be a little different. You know, obviously last week we had Yvette Hernandez, who came out and shared a lot of good information about projects that are happening in the Northeast and the funding, vehicles in which they were funded. For instance, Angora Loop. For those of you that are tuning in, and you might not be aware, but you know, Angora Loop has been a big issue in our community for over 30 years. Not being able to build that thing out and connect it because no one put any effort into it. But you know, my staff, they did some outstanding research, and we found out that it was just getting a lot of lip service. We put it on the agenda, and here it is. What, Lindsay? 2 years later. Mm-hmm. In only 2 short years, we were able to identify that as a major obstacle or a major problem in the community. We were able to get federal funding to the tune of $24 million. And I was able to get it moved up on the MPO to-do list from 2045 to 2023. So that was a huge accomplishment for the Northeast, and it's going to bring our community together. It will help our economics. It will help the folks that have to drive 3 miles one way or 7 miles the other way just to get back onto the same spot, 0.2 of a mile span. So it's going to help the community out a lot. So I just wanted to thank her one more time for coming out and sharing all of the good news with us. Obviously, you guys know, I see Miss Ackerman is on here, you know, and I know you care about open space. We had a item on the last council agenda about the NAPLAN, and I am not waiting for the NAPLAN to be rolled up into the Lost Dog Trail, because to me that's just a stall tactic. So we are moving forward on the NAPLAN conservation easement, and within the next 2 council meetings or so, we should have you guys something on that. Okay, so we just had to put our foot down and just say, hey, we're not going to wait anymore, and we're not going to wait for you to roll it up in a project that came what, Lindsay, a year and a half after we had done this, a year roughly. So yeah. We've been sitting around for almost 3 years on this one. Okay, that was the largest open space acquisition in El Paso history, 366 acres. And we are going to get that conservation easement on it, period. Okay. But what I wanted to do today was really just open up to you guys because, you know, the office is being a lot of calls and a lot of emails. There's been a lot of concerns about, you know, what's going on or what's not happening in the Northeast. And like I said, you guys are our eyes and our ears to this community. And without you, you know, half the projects that have been done, accomplished, you know, I didn't come in here all seeing, all knowing. You all help me understand what's going on in the community. And because I'm willing to listen and I'm willing to take some action, and I have an awesome staff who's willing to do the research, and we've been getting things done for you guys, and we're going to continue to do that for the next 4 years. So right now, I want to open it up to any announcements. So please, anything that's going on in the community or you want us to know about or others to know about, this is your opportunity. Please share with us. Crickets?
No. Can you hear me? Sam,
Yes, sir.
Keith Brown. Hold on. Well, I don't want to mess around with this camera, but real quick, has the issue been addressed by El Paso PD about the security for post November 3rd possible violence?
Sir, can you let us know who you are? I'm sorry.
It's Keith Brown. It's Keith Brown.
Okay, good. No, but we can get an answer on that. As a matter of fact, I can probably get an answer right here while we're talking on that. So I'm not aware of any issues, but it is a major concern. You better believe it's a major concern. And I think the rest of the nation is ramping up on it. And I will get you an answer and hopefully have you an answer on this within a few minutes while we're on the phone. Okay.
And you know, Sam, just real quick, I had an issue here in June. It was, in my opinion, pre-surveillance. And after going through everything, I first of all, I have a background in counterintelligence and counter espionage. Oh, God. Sorry about that.
No problem.
And I had an incident where a guy came, knocked on my door. When I answered the door, I had on my mask. I went out there. He walked away from me. He didn't respond. And then I followed him, around. I said, he's acting really weird. But he walked away from me. When I asked him, I said, did you knock on my door? He just walked away. And then I watched what he did. And he went to certain homes and he missed other homes. Once this was all over, El Paso PD responded. But once it was all over, I put it all together. I was like, what was this guy doing? It really very weird. And I noticed that every house that he knocked on were African-American families.
Oh, really?
But yet he walked away from my home, from my house. And then I said, well, why would he do that? Why would he do that? And then I noticed I had on a mask. The other guy that actually answered his door did not have on a mask. And he just chatted up and it was, all buddy and all that. And I'm like, something's just not right here. And then he went and knocked on another home. He skipped the home where a white family lives. And then he went to the next home, which is African Americans. He knocked on their door. So again, this is not conspiracy theory stuff.
Right.
I follow the extremist sites. And it's just something that I think might be missed. That's why that Walmart shooter was able to do what he did. Why? Because we're not paying attention. People, and it's really up to us. It's up to all the citizens.
Of course.
But it would make sense to create a problem in an area like Mesquite Hills. We're quiet, it's overall peaceful out here. And so I just think it's something that they need to, I'm hoping that they're looking at that, I'm hoping that folks are following the chatter that's going on and just be ready.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to agree with you right now. I think we all need to be, aware of what our surroundings and what's going on. There's a lot of chatter out there in the real world regarding this election that's coming up. If the outcome doesn't go one way or another, people believe that there's going to be violence. So I
Hmm.
appreciate you sharing this with me, Keith, because it's not the first time that I've heard it. Okay. But the question, as far as what is the PD doing in anticipation of, I'm waiting on an answer on that for you right now. So um, as we go through this meeting, if the answer comes through, I'll go ahead and let you know. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Another
Uh,
question.
Mr. Sturgis has his hand up. If you can unmute yourself, Mr. Sturgis.
Angela, I love your house. Mrs. Sturgis, go ahead and unmute yourself. We can't hear you. Lindsay, can you unmute him?
I can't. He has to unmute himself.
Okay, look at the bottom of your screen. You should see a thing that looks like a microphone and a camera. Just click on the microphone and it'll click. It'll turn on.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can only mute. I can't unmute.
Okay. See if you can walk him through it, Lindsay, because maybe his screen looks different than mine. I don't know.
Yeah, it should be when you hover over the bottom, a little thing should come up, a bar that has how long we've been on, a video, and then a microphone. And if you click on that microphone, it will unmute you. Do you not have that? Oh, no. The little bar is kind of showing up on top of where people's faces are. So you should see that it's not all the way at the bottom.
Hey, Lindsay, could he type it in the meeting chat?
Absolutely. If you click, there's a chat. You can click on that right next to where you raised your hand. You can click on that and type in whatever you'd like to ask, and I can read it for you.
Yeah, it's a little sign right next to the hand. And if you just click that, Mr. Sturgis, you can type it into the meeting chat and everybody can see it, and then Lindsay can read it.
Are there any other questions while we try to get him unmuted?
Ms. Ackerman said to register to vote.
Yes, please make sure you register to vote. The deadline is approaching. A lot of deadlines are approaching for the November 3rd election. That's a great reminder. Thank you, Ms. Ackerman.
Also, do you want me to share my screen? Maybe that will help him.
Yeah, see if you can share your screen and show him what it looks like. That'll work.
Does that work now?
Yeah.
There we go.
Hey, very good. Now, I wanted to
Perfect.
know, Sam, I wanted to know about what was going on up there where the bank used to be there on the corner of Kenworthy and 375. They're across from Applebee's. They tore that bank down.
Oh, yes, sir.
It's
Yes, sir.
right across the street from where the golf or where the tennis court used to be. They tore the
Okay.
bank down.
Yes, sir. The insurance agency and the bank. Yeah, they're tearing that down. They sold it, and a private investor has access to that at this time. I cannot tell you exactly what's going to go there unless Lindsay, unless you got any updates that I haven't seen on that. But
No, we don't have any updates.
okay, but I can tell you right across the street, that's where Mimco is building a shopping center. So you can pretty much anticipate it's going to be another strip mall type shopping center. Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. That's
kind of what I figured.
anticipation. Yeah, they didn't. They got a pretty good deal on that place too. You know, it wasn't as well for them. It wasn't expensive, but
Yeah.
me, $2.5 million is expensive.
Oh, yeah.
But they're going to do some infill development. As a matter of fact, to the last city council meeting, we reallocated that. We rezoned that property. So,
Okay.
but it was rezoned to commercial. So that's why I said we pretty much anticipate that it's going to be a shopping center of some sort.
Okay. Okay. Well, I guess that answers my question. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Like that beard. All right.
You're about the only one that I know of. My wife's been asking me to get rid of it.
I like it.
They're always
You know how
beard.
that goes.
All right. Good question.
Okay,
Good.
thank you.
All right. Who else has a question or an announcement?
Kim.
All
Hey,
right.
Sam, my favorite. How are you?
I'm doing great. And yourself?
Good. Wanted to let you know that I started that O2O program that I was mentioning last week,
Yes,
the
ma'am.
Onward to Opportunity, and I am knee deep in school, but I think it's a wonderful opportunity. You know, you don't, you can be a retiree to take it or a retiree spouse. And then once you finish your coursework, you become an alumni. So I am networked up the wazoo to some really awesome people. And we need to get that out maybe in the bulletin when the next cohort comes out and how to contact them, just because it's free.
It's free.
Even the certification, the national certification I will take next spring will be covered by this cohort. And then I will be certified with an APHR, and then I can go on for my PHR in human resources. And we're talking SQL, tons of top security, Six Sigma, project management. I mean, the list goes on. And this is through grant through Syracuse University. And and it's amazing. So like, if you are talking to some of the guys who are transitioning out and don't know kind of where to go, and this is another opportunity, and they help them with the transition and writing the resumes and everything. So I will email all the contact information to Lindsay with on who oversees the El Paso and Hawaii region. And it's kicking my butt. I'm in like lots of pages and notes, like I've gone back to school with my highlighters and everything. But on a second note, tapping into what Mr. Keith said, remember I had mentioned last week, I don't think he was on, where we had that racial incident here in Redstone. I think we handled it extremely well because the FBI got involved because it was a soldier. So because it happened to an Army family, the Post had the FBI come out and do an investigation. I don't know anything.
It was two black families, correct?
Yes, they were next door to each other, and one morning the wife was getting ready to take a child to daycare and saw all of these slips of paper in their front yard in the rocks, and they were all severe racial slurs. I was not able to see them because they were evidence, so the police had already bagged them, but they were in both rock areas of both houses, and both those families are African American. And you would have to live in our neighborhood to know who lives where. I mean, my neighbor across the street, my neighbor down the street, I worry for them. I don't know if you could tap in to your police people up at the Northeast just to see what the outcome was, just because, you have to have a certain amount of rank to follow up, because I don't have a police report number. It had not been issued yet. but we're still very aware of this. The HOA especially is, in contact, obviously, with your office, and then I'm in contact with our HOA people, just because I'm the secretary, so I get all the phone calls.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Those two neighbors, obviously with you guys being in an HOA, you guys pay dues, you guys have meetings, regular meetings.
When people show up.
Would it be possible for you to get a case number from one of the neighbors, and then that way we can follow the whole trail?
Yeah, I should be able to get that through my leasing agent who oversees our property management, because I know that once they are published, they are public knowledge.
Yes, they are.
They also came back to us and were furious with us, saying, well, what are you going to do to protect us? And, an HOA is not law enforcement at all. But I believe they were having some undercovers just kind of police their street. But it's been very disheartening to know that this took place, that they were a young couple and then another couple. And so, we handled it the best we could and comforted them and let them know that, but they didn't even want to stay in their own home that night.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Pretty scary.
So, we also think it has something to do with how people are cutting through to go to the park, that they're kind of scoping out our homes. We've seen it in Sandstone. People are literally walking by to see who has cameras on their front yards or backyards or whatever, and they're scoping out who has cameras and who does not.
Really?
Yeah, especially Sandstone. If Lindsay can tap into Nextdoor or Town Square, they are constantly posting. Brantley or Bradley's having some issues. Of course, Mesquite Hills, and then the worst is over in Sandstone. They're having some really issues over there, and Marcus Uribe. So I want to bring that it's everywhere.
All right. Well, thank you for bringing that to my attention, because sorry about that. I was not aware that it hasn't died down. I knew we had that initial problem, but that's some scary stuff.
And the speeding has progressively gotten worse. We've had some tenants that have moved into a home here. I'd like to talk offline with you and Lindsay to see if there's anything we can do. We've kind of tried the right route, the renters. And so if we could talk offline about this, maybe you guys could help us, because we're at our wits' end.
Okay. Yeah, that's some scary stuff. And we need to be a little more vigilant. One of the things that we could probably do, Lindsay, is ask for some stepped up patrols, just like we did with Veterans Park. Mm-hmm. And that just the police presence sometimes deters a lot of bad things from happening. So let's go ahead and follow up on that, Lindsay.
I do have to say, I saw the El Paso police wrecker came and ticketed my neighbors 3 cars, because they have quite a few cars, because they have quite a few family members who live there, and they ticketed the car because it hadn't moved in 3 days. So they weren't out checking my speeder going down Redstone Rim, but they were ticketing my sweet neighbors across the street because they can't help it that they have 5 cars, and they had to go call the city and say, we use these cars every day. But the wrecker, the EPPD wrecker, was in my front yard, ticketing people going down my neighborhood. That was weird.
Yes. So per city code, if a vehicle is parked at the public right-of-way and doesn't move for 72 hours, it's considered an abandoned vehicle. So that's why it gets noticed that they're going to tow it.
I'm sure someone reported it, though. Yeah,
if they were, because that's a unit within the police department. They're not necessarily police officers. So if that's happening, it's probably because somebody said there's too many cars parked on the street. And what people fail to realize is that on curb parking and on street parking, you can't control that. That doesn't belong to you. The public can park anywhere on your street as long as they don't block your driveway. But to kind of decrease people from just parking all over the place, city code does state that if a vehicle is parked for longer than 72 hours and has not moved, it is considered abandoned. And so if you guys haven't moved your vehicle and it's parked on the street, go move it up an inch so you can say that you drove it somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those weird codes that it makes sense when you need it, but when you don't need it, you're like, why does this exist? Yeah.
I got it. Okay. Well, thank you for that update, Kim. And we will follow up on that. You know, I appreciate you reaching out to Lindsay because, like I said, you know, she's the central nervous system of the organization. So she gets it done. All right. So we'll follow back up with you on those issues. Thank you. All right. Hey, Vanessa, Ron, how you guys doing? I see you guys popped in there.
We got a message in the chat that says, I may have missed the update, but was there a status on the reconstruction efforts for Railroad Drive from about Shrub Oak to 375? Will that section be widened from the 2-lane road? I actually was reading about this today if you want me to answer this question.
Go for it.
So yeah, so we have 2 projects happening on Railroad. One of them is currently under construction and the other one is scheduled for design. So the one that you're mentioning here, which is the expansion and widening from Shrub Oak to 375, or rather if you're traveling on Railroad heading north, it's from 375 to Shrub Oak. That one is currently under design. And it was supposed to break ground for construction in 2021 and be completed in 2022. However, the funding for that was it's currently a deferred project because of COVID-19. And so that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It just means it's not happening today.
Yeah.
So the design, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I say it's going to happen.
No, absolutely it's going to happen. And they've actually, because it's been deferred, they're actually talking about extending that further past Shrub Oak. So for right now, the design is being completed because it was already in the process prior to COVID. But once design is complete, that project's going to be deferred until, we know the implications of COVID-19. The other project that's currently happening on Railroad, a completely different project, and this is happening on the side of Railroad on the other side of 375, is the lighting and landscaping, and that is about a 10-mile stretch where they're adding lights every 300 feet. And they're building landscaping and retaining walls for flooding issues and all of that stuff. So that project's currently happening and will continue because it was already under construction. But the one you're referring to, the other railroad project, is deferred at this time. But it is going to happen. We just can't tell you. We don't have years anymore to tell you when it's going to happen just because COVID's kind of changed the plans for all of that.
Remember when COVID hit us, we deferred a lot of capital improvement projects. Okay, and that is one of those projects that was deferred as well. But like Lindsay said, it is going to get done, and you'll notice like everything that is south of 375 on Railroad right now is receiving the landscaping and lighting, and we discussed that last week. A couple of issues. On that note, Lindsay, were you able to get those design plans?
For the Railroad one, I do. Well, I don't have all of them. I'm waiting on the complete packet. I just have what we had from a past meeting, which isn't the full thing. So yes and no. I don't want to send out what I have because it's not complete. So okay. Once I get the full thing, I'll be able to put that out.
So hopefully soon we'll be able to get you guys an update on that, because I believe it was Beth Newman who brought it up last week. And like we asked you guys, please be patient with us. The city staff is not running at full capacity. Folks are working from home. Even I had to go pick up another laptop just so I could continue to keep up with all of these virtual meetings. because my tablet couldn't handle what was going on with all the meetings. And some people use Teams, some people use Zoom, some people use Google Meetings, and my laptop just didn't. My tablet didn't have the capability to do it all. So, the IT, they worked with us, but I just want you guys to know that even though we're working with a partial staff, we're getting the information. It just takes a little longer to get it. So bear with Lindsay and Angela, and they'll get you guys that information. Okay. Thank you.
We had a question in the chat. Will our libraries open soon? So opening to the public is probably not going to happen for a while because gatherings are still prohibited. However, our library is open for curbside pickup and curbside drop off. So you're welcome to go and use it for that. The only thing that's not available right now is obviously like our computer lab and stuff. But if you have a computer, the library does offer free Wi-Fi if you want to go use it from the parking lot. So we don't have a time when the library will be open back to normal just because we don't know what's going to happen with COVID. Right now, at 3 o'clock today, we had a press conference and the mayor basically was just stating that we still don't know what the effects of Labor Day are going to have on us. So far, numbers haven't gone up, but we don't know what's going to happen in the next 2 weeks. If people got together with their families or friends or went out and did things, we're probably going to see another spike. So we're still waiting to see what happens with that. So as far as libraries go, they are open for curbside service, but to be open to go inside, we don't know. I hope that answers your question.
Just remember, Richard Burgess, yeah, like Lindsay said, it's curbside and the bookmobiles are active. If we open a library anytime soon, the first one will probably be the downtown library because it's the most utilized library. So that'll be a good indicator to us. Think about it. They're going to open them up 1 or 2 at a time. They're not going to open up all of them. So we'll keep an eye out for that. And Lindsay, go ahead and put that in as a note. I'll bring that up. Who was the question from?
It just says M. Lujan.
Okay. M. Lujan?
Yeah, like I'm assuming Lujan is Monica Lujan. She just sent it. Monica.
Monica, well, what I'll do is I'll be sure to bring that up at the Tuesday council meeting. Trust me, this is a question that has been asked a lot of us from like every single district in El Paso. Everyone wants to know when the libraries are going to open up because I get it. Here in the Northeast, when we opened up the Richard Burgess Library, most people don't know this, but we created the largest single computer lab in the city. The largest one in the entire city is right here in our community at the Richard Burgess Library. It's bigger than anything downtown. It's bigger than anything. So I could see the need for wanting to get that back open. We have a lot of folks that are doing homeschooling and they use the library. That was part of their classroom curriculum with their kids. So we're getting a lot of questions about the library. So I'll bring that up to the city manager on Tuesday. So Lindsay, don't let me forget that. And we'll see if we can get you guys a better answer by next week on that.
Julie has her hand raised.
Julie, talk to me. You're muted. You're muted. There you go.
There you go.
Okay. I said you all probably went over this last week about the Sean Haggerty and the Railroad Drive. How does the Department of Transportation play into that? Are they paying so much or not at all? Can't hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
You can hear you. Like what do you mean? What can you
as far as monies, like the city, like who the state of Texas owns that road or owns part of the road, or the city puts in so much and they put in so much. So I heard you say earlier that you all had received grants
Yes.
In the millions? Okay,
Yes.
so Department of Transportation, they don't have to pay their share?
So for Sean Haggerty, the federal government's paying for the entire thing.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we were able to get through what's called the Metropolitan Planning Organization.
Yeah,
They
the
have,
MPO. Mhm.
yeah, the MPO has a program in it that's called the TIP, which is Transportation Improvement Program, I think. And we applied through the federal government, and the federal government is going to pay the entire 24 million.
You remember in the past, it used to be referred to as the Tiger Grant, but when the Tiger Grants went away, a lot of people just threw their hands up. They were like, "Well, how are we gonna apply for this?" But Yvette, Miss Yvette Hernandez, who briefed us last week, that's what she does. She's got a pool of grant writers. She's got a pool of researchers. And her and I, we sat down multiple times to figure out how to get this thing moved up on the MPO task list and how to get it funded. It didn't make any sense to get it moved up if we couldn't get the funding. So we applied for, just so you guys know, and to be more specific for you, Julie, we applied for a lot of grants based off need. Okay. Based off need, and a lot of those grants go unsolicited and unfunded. So we got really creative with it, and we explained how it was going to bring one community together as a whole. And it's only a 2/10 of a mile stretch of road, but because it sits in a floodplain, and this is why we got the grant, because it sits in a floodplain, it had to be a bridge. Everyone keeps thinking we just go out there and just pave it, but if you look at that thing, it's an indent like this, and it needs a bridge to actually bring it up. And because it was considered a bridging project, is why we were able to get the grant, and that came in the form of $24 million with no matching funds whatsoever from the city. If it was a Tiger grant, it would have been an 80-20 match, but they got rid of Tiger grants, and because we could show a need, a legitimate need, we were able to get these grants because no one applies for them. That's what, I told you guys years ago that the sad thing is we got to always make sure we're putting the best people with the best talents in these jobs. And right now, if you take a look around the city, a lot of people, beat us up that everyone's quitting. Yeah, the people that have finally been found out and they're not as talented as they thought they were, they're getting a lot of pressure and they're leaving because they can't keep up. I mean, Lindsay is, how old are you, like 12? I mean, Lindsay's like 12 years old and shit, and she's crushing it.
I just turned 26. Thank you very much.
So the point is I think people are finally getting hip to the fact that we have to bring talented people in. Like Yvette, when I came on board, she wasn't a director, she wasn't the head of a department, but she is now, because we finally got rid of all that dead wood, we trimmed the fat, and we got people that really want to do these jobs, not just hang around for another 10 years to their retirement. So I'm proud of the staff. I'm proud of the city for bringing on these people, because she knew 3 years ago that this was a project that could be funded, but because she wasn't in a position to where anyone would listen to her, nothing happened. But as soon as we got rid of that dead wood and we promoted this very talented person, all of a sudden we started receiving all kinds of grants. I don't know if you guys know this, but Julie and I, we used to work together back in the day. So when I say dead wood, you know what I'm talking about. There's some dirt bags that needed to go. All right. Did that answer your question?
I think, did Mr. Betts have a question?
Yes. Good evening, Dr. Morgan. Good evening, Liz. It is good to see you two again. God bless. I hope all
good to see both of you guys.
Amen. Two things. I'm having a difficult time getting a permit to build a shed.
I think we lost.
Building a larger city. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
There we
got
go.
you now.
Okay, I'm having a difficult time getting myself a permit. I had a smaller shed on my property and removed it, trying to put a bigger shed up and want to get a permit, making sure everything is legal. I've got all the underground plumbing, everything ran, and so I want to get permits to get these things done, make sure all is well. Tell me, what can I do in order to expedite getting a permit here? I'm having a difficult time being passed back and forth and answering machines. And it's
Yeah,
true.
let me ask you this. How long has this process been? How long have you know, from the time that you started to now, how long has it been?
How many months?
Well, actually,
Months?
no.
Okay.
Only feels like it. Probably close to a month.
Yeah. Yeah.
About
About a month.
okay.
The 311 number, and they send you to another number, and
Back to the same number.
you hold on,
Yeah.
and they tell you you're so many minutes in
Yeah.
line, and
Yeah.
when you get to the closest time, then it drops, and you got to start all over again.
Right. So it's been a chore with that, and once you get expedited, so I can get this shed up. Winter coming, and I've been on my back for 4 months. Back went out, and I've been down, and so I'm trying to move where I can. And when that cold weather hit, I'll be down for the count. So I'm just trying to get some things done. So maybe we can get this thing excited.
Yes, sir. Lindsay, hit them what we're gonna do.
Yeah, so what I'll do is after this meeting, I'll give you a call and I'll get the address and all the information you have. If you have any information, I'll get that from you. And I will figure out what's going on, where we are with the process, why it's taking so long, because it should be a fairly easy process.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get you taken care of. As soon as I get the information from you, I'll send it off and I can probably have you a response pretty soon.
Woo, now you're talking. I like that.
When in doubt, call Lindsay.
Amen. Now the second thing, it's gonna sound foolish, but I was having my tools sent back for repairs, and I met this young lady, Miss Aguilera, and we have a lot of people unemployed. They're just all over the country. We have a lot of people unemployed, and this young lady come up with an idea. She said, you have people who they can't go back to work, and then you have those grandparents and others who are staying home and taking care of the kids and home schooling and things like that. Saying,
Yes,
why isn't there something to pay these people? They're working, and so got to do to pay these people that are staying home and taking care of the kids and home teaching. That's an income for those until we're able to get past this COVID. I thought that was an excellent idea. Until city council get to city council, I didn't want credit for this. I want this young lady to talk about this, she's got not just this, but many other ideas. And I thought that was an excellent one to bring before the council, before the board, where y'all can hear some of the things that she's got to say, where people get paid.
I would ask you to have her reach out to our office, because one of the things that, this is actually a school board issue, but it's something that, we can actually have the conversation and get people to pay attention to what's going on, because I think that you're right. That is an excellent idea. My kid is not digging this online, doing her own type of work, because she's a 4.0 plus student, and she's trying to get ready for college, and she's like, this is crazy. I've been on my own for the last year. She's just lucky she's got a mom and a dad who are smart enough to help her out, but a lot of kids don't have that. They just, in this, like I was beyond my parents' capability by the time I was in the 6th grade. My mom was like, woo.
That new math.
She was done. I was like, oh no, Mom, this is algebra. She was like, can't help you, son. So I can't imagine what these kids are going through out here right now. That's a good point. I can at least talk to our school board rep, Mr. Chuck Taylor, about that. And if need be, I could talk to Mr. Juan Cabrera, the superintendent, about it. So I have access to both of them.
Dr. Morgan, you really need to meet this woman. Like I said, I was impressed. I was there for, 20, 30 minutes and had a chance. She's brilliant in some of these ideas. And I think she needs to be heard. I think you'll be impressed. I think they would be.
She's not running against me, is she?
No. She's just
not running at all.
Yeah, she's not running at all. But
I'm just messing with you, man.
And one other thing before I stop and get out of the way, it is good to know that you're not just running on your past, but you're running also on your future, what the plans are to improve the city here again. And I thank you. I thank you for what you and Lindsay are doing.
Well, thank you. So you found my website, I take
Yes,
it.
sir.
Okay. Hey guys, if you want to see what we got.
Found the website.
She just wants all the credit.
You guys, if you really want to know what's going on, past, present, and future, go to sammorgan.org.
Amen. Got it.
sammorgan.org. You know.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay. Thank you.
I did. We got a comment in the chat section from Keith Brown. He says, this was going back prior to Mr. Betts. Now that you're on the subject of talent, I want to give kudos to Angela assisting me with my earlier issued time for a raise, LOL. I just want to shout Angela.
Thank you.
Well, guess what? I got it in my budget. We'll see.
She did a great job. She really did.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
I tried my best.
Okay,
Julie, it shows that you have your hand raised. Did you want to speak again?
I'm sorry, I want to speak again.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to comment on Mr. Betts commented about the people that are helping out with the virtual learning.
Yes.
If you look in today's paper, there's an article that the federal government is proposing something like that to, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And also it's in today's paper. I forget where, I think it's in the Borderlands section. And also I would like to thank Mr. Betts for his editorial. Right on time.
Oh, when was this editorial published? I'm sorry, I don't get the paper.
The editorial, I think it was in the editorial, I believe it was in last week's paper. It was Mr. Betts. Can you hear me? Can Mr. Betts hear me?
Yes, I think that might be the wrong Betts. He's at the
VFW. I'm the commander of Post 2451. I did Commander's Corner.
Oh, sorry, sir. But back to that question about the parents that are helping the children on the virtual learning and people out of work. There's an article in today's paper about the federal government wanting to introduce something like that to pay the parents something. So after the federal level, maybe we could get to the governor, down to the state, and down to Sam.
Nice.
Amen. Amen.
We're definitely going to read that article, Lindsay. You need to find that.
Yes,
I think it was in Thursday's paper, Sam.
Okay, fantastic.
Okay.
Thank you.
Those are some very good points. They're very valid. I mean,
Absolutely.
Your kids went to school, the teachers get paid. If they're staying home and their families having to help them, and because like I said, a lot of families in El Paso are not, some of us, like I said, by the time I was in the 6th grade, my mom couldn't help me with anything anymore. Okay. But there should be some, something in it for this, because we're doing the job of the state right now. Okay.
Absolutely.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
Yes, ma'am.
That's right.
I wanted to make a couple announcements unless anybody else has other questions, just to let you all know. So next week is City Council. It will be the first meeting that begins in the afternoon. So City Council will no longer begin at 9 a.m. It will now begin at 3:30 p.m. And that is for the Monday meeting and the Tuesday meeting. So if you guys want to join in, it's still virtual. It's held just like this Teams meeting is here. You're welcome to view it or call into it if you want to speak on an item. You can view it on pretty much everywhere: Facebook, YouTube, the city's website. You can find it in a lot of places. So if you want to tune in, please do 3:30 p.m. And on the Monday meeting at 3:30, they're supposed to go over operational focus, which is the city manager presenting COVID updates. So they'll probably talk about libraries a little bit in that. I was just looking at the agenda. We just got it. So if you guys are interested to know what's going on in City council Monday and Tuesday, 3:30 p.m.
Yeah. Okay. And remember, if you want to speak on an agenda item, you still need to register in advance. Okay. Even though it's moved to later in the day, you still have to be signed up by 9 a.m.
Yes.
Okay. Because I just looked at the website and it's still that those times haven't changed. So make sure that you guys sign up. Okay.
Yes, and you can do that by calling the city clerk and just saying, "Hi, my name is so and so, and I want to speak on item whatever the item number is." Or so that will be public comment on an item. If you want to do call to the public, which is happening at 6:00 p.m., it would formally happen at noon. It's now happening at 6. If you want to speak at call to the public, you can sign up, and then you have to give what your topic is.
Yeah.
Remember, call to the public is only topics that are not on the council agenda. Public comment is items that are on the agenda. I know that's kind of like confusing, but just make sure, just call city clerk and they can get you all set up with whatever you need. And their number is very easy, 212-1212. So you can give them a call. They're very helpful. They can help you get that all squared away. I was gonna ask you if Rep Morgan, did you want me? I have a list of all of the District 4 projects that are deferred because of COVID. Would you want me to go over those? Okay.
Yes.
So I'm just going to read down the list, and then if you guys have questions, let us know. So these are all projects that are being deferred because of the funding issues with COVID. That doesn't mean they're not going to happen. It just means as of right now, they're not moving forward with design, or they're not moving forward with construction. Whatever phase that project was in is basically just paused right now until we know how long COVID is going to impact our community. So some of the projects for District 4 included in that are the traffic signal that's going up on Dyer and Tiger Eye. I don't even know if you all knew that was coming, but now you do. So that one's deferred. The other one is they were going to put paved trails from Donald to Dyer all along that corridor. That one's also halted right now. The railroad reconstruction, as we mentioned, they were going to put a traffic signal at Sean Haggerty and Rushing. That one is also being deferred for right now. Let's see.
And you guys understand these deferments are only because of the COVID situation right now. That's the only reason they're being deferred. They're fully funded, they're planned, but COVID has got us.
Yeah, it's just a matter of funding allocation. The funding isn't going away. It's just being moved around a little bit. So these projects will still happen. We just can't tell you. Before, we'd be able to say like, oh, this is coming fall 2021, but now we can't just because we don't know. And the last project being deferred for District 4 is some more paved trails on Loma Real. So we actually lucked out. We're actually the district with the least amount of deferred projects. So some of the ones that are still moving forward to completion are the water park, which is basically done. If it wasn't for COVID, we would have enjoyed it this summer.
Yeah.
Another one that's not deferred is the Gene Roddenberry Planetarium relocation to Crosby Elementary. That's still happening. It's still moving forward. It's under construction right now. Another project that's still going forward is the play structure at Joey Barraza and Vino Memorial Park. So phase 2 of that one is deferred in terms of the flat fields and the dog park, but the play structure is still happening because it was already bid out to be constructed. The shade canopy at Sandstone Ranch Estates is still happening. The improvements at Student Memorial Park is still happening. The improvements at Todd Ware Park is still happening. And the Veterans Center, Recreation Center reconstruction is still happening as well. So there's still some really important projects that are still taking place. There's just a couple that have been deferred, but I just wanted to share those with you so you knew what to expect.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like I said earlier, we gave you guys the website, sammorgan.org. You can actually go there and you can see, the top 20 projects that have been completed in our community, as well as, the next, top 10, 12 projects that are coming up and some other things you might not have known. So please take a look at that. And, if you got questions when we meet next week, we can talk to you on that. But Lindsay just gave you the gospel on what's going on. Okay. So, you have any more questions, Linz?
Kim has her hand raised.
Yeah, regarding the play, what exactly for our park, the play group or the play area that you just mentioned?
Yes.
For
It's
phase two?
It's a modular play area.
Okay.
So this one is actually going to be an all abilities playground. So it will be pretty large because it will allow for individuals in wheelchairs to utilize it and access it the way any other person would. So it's pretty cool. It's called an all abilities play area, and you can look it up. You can Google it. They're really awesome. This was actually awarded to us through a grant as part of our ADA compliance.
Okay.
And they decided to put one at Joey Barraza and Vino. So it's going to be really cool. It's going to still be a while. It's not deferred, but it's barely in design. So it's not like being constructed today. It's just, none of it's being halted, if you will.
Do you guys have any feedback regarding those other two fields? Can y'all get with me offline regarding those two problem areas that we discussed last week?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I have some updates. I'm waiting for the full update before I give you all of it.
You're the bestest as always. This will be great to at least let Joey, if she's not online on the phone, let Tammy know.
Yeah, please let Tammy know. Her and George.
Yeah. She's been working like a dog with teaching and this online thing. That woman is going nonstop.
Yeah. Well, they both teach, right?
They do.
Okay.
They do. And this online Zoom, Microsoft Teams, it's like she tried to get in here, but it kept throwing her into the work one.
I can tell you what, if I was in a classroom right now, what I would do is I would take a picture of myself sitting here like this and stick it up, and I go do whatever I want to do, go play.
Well, she's amazing. And I just, in fact, she just sent me a text. I'm still working. Ugh. So I kind of am her spokesperson, and then I back brief her. But they're wanting to move in the neighborhood so she can be closer to
her
son. And Vino has been retired, the dog.
Oh, really?
He has been retired and has found a home. So Vino is no longer in service. So just, but we would like to have him there once we finally are able to do a formal ribbon cutting.
That's awesome. Make sure that Lindsay has that information, because when we do open that dog park, and it is going to get opened, we'd love to have Border Patrol service.
Oh, and I'm going to be there too.
Just in case anybody's
have them there.
If anybody's on the line that doesn't know what we're kind of talking about, just to kind of catch you all up, Joey Barraza and Vino Memorial Park was formerly known as Northeast Regional Park. And in about 2018, Joey's parents, Tammy and Jerry, came to us asking if they could do something to honor their son who was killed in the line of duty with the Border Patrol. So we decided that the best thing would be to name a park after him, because he grew up in Northeast, raised a family in Northeast.
School in the Northeast.
Right. And so we just, so they submitted the application, got everything through, we got it all passed. And actually Julie, who's on the call, helped us get it passed at the park advisory board level. And then it went to city council in, I think, early 2018. And so then the name was officially changed. So now it's Joey Barraza and Vino Memorial Park. And Vino was his canine who survived and then was reassigned at the time. But as Kim just let us know, he's now been retired. And that is why we thought it was perfect to name the park, because there's a dog park going in at Joey Barraza and Vino. So it kind of just all ties together really well. And it's a really nice way to memorialize one of our own. So yeah, just in case anybody didn't know that backstory, I hope that helps.
He's a native son of the Northeast. His mother and father are both educators, and they're very passionate. Obviously, as you could imagine, the loss of your son, I have 4 daughters. I couldn't imagine any of them going before me. but you know, it was very traumatic, and you know, he was killed in the line of duty. So when they brought this to us, it was one of the first projects that I worked on as a city rep. It was one of my first projects. And you know, Julie, she helped us out tremendously by being on Parks and Rec advisory, and we got a unanimous across the board thumbs up. So that was literally my team and that was our first victory, our first real victory. A native son of the Northeast, we ended up memorializing him with a park. And his canine partner is now retired, which I'm glad to hear that. And we'll make sure that Vino is at the ribbon cutting.
Yeah, the family's doing really well. You know, I mean, even though it was 2016, but I have become very good friends with Tammy, and I'm just so grateful that I can, you know, keep her in the loop regarding the park and anything regarding anything around the park. And their goal actually is to move into our neighborhood to be closer to the park. So, but she's an amazing spirit, and she, you know, has been in the Northeast almost all her life. She has grandbabies who come to the park and everything. So this is it affects the entire family, and I'm very honored to become a very close friend of hers.
Thank you, Kim. We appreciate all the work you do to help us keep everyone informed, and you know, all the surrogate work that you do, you know, in our community. We appreciate you so much.
Well, once I get my APR, you should hire me, because then I'll have my my human resources national certification.
Okay, when I'm the county commissioner or the next congressman, I'll take you up on that.
Because I'll be working with benefits and onboarding and all of the FMLA and Title VII laws.
Oh, so you guys heard it here first.
Yep. But I want to raise.
Get ready.
I got a text from Nancy. I'm just going to clarify right now. She was asking about what I said about Donald and Dyer. Yeah. That project that's deferred is a trail. It's like a paved trail. So it's not necessarily following the roadway. It's just through the land. It's just like a paved trail. And it's more of a way to give people something to do, but also it protects the ditch that's right there. So it's kind of like a 2-for-1 deal. So it's not like a repaving project or anything. It's just a little trail. It's not anything crazy or massive. Just wanted to clarify that because I did get a text about that.
And is Ron, Mr. Brown, still on the call?
Yes.
Keith Brown, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, Keith. Hey, I'm thinking of my frat brother, Ron Brown. Sorry about that, Keith. I know who you are, and I know where you live, so be careful. Hey, I just got notification that yes, PD is, you know, ramping up. Tracking. However, it still needs to have some action from council. So with that being said, I will make sure that I bring this up as a issue or a topic. It's too late for us to get it on this agenda unless someone asks. Okay, but I will definitely have it on the next city council agenda. That I want to know what PD is doing in preparation for the November 3rd election, presidential election. Is, you know, what we're doing to prepare in the event that there's unrest
with the results
within our community, because we do know that there's people that don't want to give up power. Okay. You know, me personally, I ain't in it for the power. I'm in it for all these beautiful faces that I see on this screen and this community. But a lot of people, man, they get drunk with power and they don't want to give it up. That's all I'm going to say about that. So we do need to, that's a good, you know, Keith, I appreciate you asking that question, because a lot of people don't ask the hard questions because they don't want to be considered, you know, an outcast, but I think that's a real good question to ask. I really do. I just went to Arizona this weekend, and I was in Scottsdale, and
Oh yeah.
I know that area. Yeah, I know that area very well.
The Scottsdale side on the Camelback was good. Oh, yeah, and rich. When I went to the Phoenix side, I was like, "Ooh, shit!"
Yeah,
there was some interesting people running around there with guns on their hips, and I was like, "Wow, I can't imagine El Paso ever being like this. I just can't." So I'm happy to be home. Thank you very much. All right, Lindsay, I think we are at 1 hour and 10 minutes. You got any last thing?
I just wanted to make one more announcement that I forgot to make for you all to know. Well, I guess two announcements. One, El Pasoans Fighting Hunger is still operating. If you know anybody that needs food, please have them go. There's also some different sites around the town, around the city where you can go and get food if you need. The actual location is still open, but it's kind of far from Northeast. But if you need food, it's there. Also, they started a new pilot program. If you know of anybody that have pets that need food, they are now offering free pet food as well as part of that. So they're trying to a feed all initiative. So if you know of anybody who needs food for themselves or food for their animals, they're providing that. So please don't hesitate to reach out to them. They also have a delivery program. So if you know of somebody that doesn't drive or is elderly or can't leave the house because of medical conditions, you can have them call Pasoans Fighting Hunger and they will deliver to their doorstep, contactless delivery.
Yep.
The last thing I want to say, and I think Renee is on, but I did see a thing. Just beware, y'all. I think there's a lot of scams going on right now. I know El Paso Electric has experienced it. I saw a post from El Paso Water regarding people coming and putting things on your door saying you need to call us now. And so just be careful. If you don't know what it is, just don't call the number on the paper, call the water utility or whichever utility it is that's having the issue, call their direct customer service and ask if it's legit. I don't know if Renee wants to mention anything.
Sure. Thanks, Lindsay, for bringing that up. Hi, everyone. My name is Renee Leone. I'm the legislative liaison with El Paso Water. Lindsay's correct. We've seen a rise in, we can't technically call them scams because some of them are for businesses, but they are misleading because they make it look like they represent El Paso Water when in fact they're not affiliated with us in one way at all. A lot of them are trying to sell you water filters. They're trying to get you to test your water so that they can show it has all these different minerals or chemicals in it. But if you do get one of those at your door, please feel free to give us a call. You can call the main number, 594-5500, and you can ask them, what the notice is for. And our notices are very clear. They have our logos on there. They will give you the name of the employee who left, plus a phone number to contact. And those are usually more for customers who are having billing problems or connection problems. But in regards for testing the water, we won't leave anything at the door.
Got it.
Yeah, so just be careful out there. And if you're suspicious of it, you probably go with your gut. And you can always call our office if you have any questions. We're happy to try and figure out if it's something legit or not. So please don't fall victim because a lot of people are a little desperate for funds. So they're kind of going out of their way to take advantage of others. So please be careful is all I'm going to say.
Please do. And thank you, Renee. You're awesome, man. I appreciate you coming to our meetings. I mean, when we were meeting in person, you were there. We're meeting virtually. You're here. I mean, we appreciate that. The folks in the Northeast, we appreciate that.
Sure. Okay, sorry for accidentally hijacking the screen a while ago.
You're
carrying my baby and the laptop, things get clicked on.
Hey, sure. I wanted to dovetail on what Lindsay said about El Paso's Fighting Hunger. I actually took a tour yesterday. So I went out there. I met with the CEO. I met with the directors. I took a tour of the food bank, and I was shocked. I mean, when I came off of 375 in the Plaza Circle, The cars were 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks away. I initially pulled in behind them and I said, wait a minute, I'm not going to make my appointment. And I went around everyone, but I had no idea that they were waiting in line like that, you know. And the food that they're giving people is phenomenal. You know, I was wishing I could have walked out with a box because my refrigerator is bare. but I mean, it was everything.
Choice.
Exactly.
It was, yes, Angela. but we as El Pasoans need to understand what is happening in our community. I mean, you know, we have people that are hurting, that are suffering right now. And Lindsay made a very good point. If you're over 60, you're shut in, you're elderly, you can actually request the package be brought to your home, and they will bring you a box a week. And these they're not tiny. I mean, there was milk, there was egg, there was cheese, there was fresh vegetables, there was protein, there was meat. I mean, I couldn't believe how much stuff went into these packages. And the federal government is funding a portion of this. The goodwill of the people are funding another portion of it, and their fundraising efforts are bringing up the tail end. And the federal government is very specific about what goes into these things. I mean, potatoes, you name it. I mean, I was blown away as far as the produce and what is coming in there. Don't be ashamed. Don't be shy. Tell your friends, because you know they're feeding, like I think yesterday you told me they fed 4,000 families. Okay, they have a 21-day supply, and I walked through the entire warehouse, guys. Lindsay will probably post some pictures up on our website, but you need to let people know about this. And oh, by the way, I am looking for a place in the Northeast where we can open up another food bank, because those of you that might not know it, Katie's Pantry, what church was that happening at, Lindsay? I can't remember the church.
It was on Sun Valley, New Hope.
New Hope.
Okay. Yeah. New Hope, you know, they, as of the 4th of September, just a few days ago, you know, they closed down because of fatigue. They just couldn't maintain the op tempo. They just couldn't do it, you know, because you're looking at a lot of volunteers, and for 4 months straight, 7 days a week, they've been feeding the Northeast. Well, that food bank closed, in case you guys didn't know it, on the 4th of this month. And I and my staff are looking for a new location right now. And I've contacted a couple of churches and a couple other places that have the capacity. And hopefully by tomorrow, I will have a word on it. And once we get this new location, we'll be sure to put it out to you guys, because there's a lot of people that are hungry right now. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy, because a lot of people aren't working, and people are burning through their savings, you know, if they had savings, and it's a hard time right now. So, you know, I donate a lot of money. You guys know I'm Catholic, so I tithe my money trying to go to heaven, you know. Natty's laughing at me. but the bottom line is, you know, I give a lot of my finances to the church and to people that need it more than me, you know. So please help us get the word out once we find this location, and we're going to find something very quick for them.
Okay, Sam, once you find it, you let us know if you need help getting, you know, volunteers getting everything set up, and then setting, you know, time schedules and stuff for those of us that are still, you know, out of work, that could, you know, still be covered for safety for COVID, but definitely help our fellow Northeasterners.
You got it. I will definitely do that, because like I said, all they're looking for is a space right now. They're going to provide all the labor and all the food. They just need obviously they're looking for anyone who'd be willing to volunteer, because like I said, Katie's food pantry, it closed because people are just exhausted, you know.
Well, the line for that literally went all the way. I don't know what neighborhood that backs up into, but the cars were literally backed up all the way into that neighborhood every morning. I mean, like hundreds of cars. You could just go down Kenworthy and look, and they just were everywhere. So I can understand, there's only so many. Fatigue unfortunately happens during crisis like this, but please keep us updated, because I'd love to give back, because even though I'm unemployed, I'm very blessed to have a spouse and everything. So, but also remember the FEMA $300 is ending the 6 weeks. So it will end the pay week, the week of the 5th of September. So if you claimed unemployment, or someone that claimed and was able to get the COVID 600, the 300 ends this past week. So when you file, you're only going to get that 300 one more time. And then that's it.
Okay.
That's it.
All right.
Yeah. So that affects me. So yeah. So I got an email today from Texas Workforce Commission.
Lindsay, if you could put that into our next newsletter, that's really good information, because a lot of people are being, their incomes are being supplemented a lot right now. So
yeah, it was great, because I was able to, pay some stuff, and but I feel for those who aren't going to make rent this next month. So
we're on it. Miss Betts,
yeah,
you had your hand up, Vanessa?
Yes, sir. My wife and I may have some suggestions for you for some locations that may be able to use. I'll talk to the pastors there, and may have 2 locations for you also, real quick here.
Outstanding. And once you do that networking, if they want to talk to me, I'll be more than happy to come, and meet everyone with my Trump 2020 mask on. Just joking. Everyone's laughing. No, I'm just no. Yeah, but I'll be.
You're fired.
I'll be.
Lindsay, is this every day with him now?
No.
Yes.
Welcome to my life.
Hey, you guys were all looking like you were going to sleep. I had to wake you up somehow.
I think he misses y'all is all it is.
No, but I'd be more than happy, Ron, to meet up with anyone to talk about this, because I took it as a personal challenge to help the CEO out. She asked me, because whether you guys believe it or not, before Angela was on board, Lindsay and I, we have been nothing but champion the El Paso's Fighting Hunger, and there wasn't a COVID going on. I mean, we got the city to give money, because I don't know. I felt we needed this new talent. We needed this person that actually knew how to run a food bank. I hate to say it, we had to import that talent from out of town, because that food bank was dying. We got a whole new board of directors. We got a new CEO. We got a new operations officer. I met with all of them yesterday. I know a lot of people think, what Angela will tell you, people will tell us, hey, you guys are getting paid for doing nothing. We're still doing the same job, folks. We are, and I put my mask on, I put my little sanitizer in my pocket, and I go out there, So it's hard, but we're getting it done. But Ron, if you got a couple locations, my friend, that would be awesome. And the bottom line is, they don't have to worry about labor, and they don't have to worry about the food. Period. It's just going to be a pickup and drop off point. But anyone who's taking advantage, who needs it, we got to have it in the Northeast, because the only other option they got is putting it in Central. And we don't have a food bank in the Northeast anymore, and we need one. As of today's the 10th? 5 days ago. As of 5 days ago, we lost our only food bank. Okay.
Okay, we take care of that pronto. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend.
I just want to say one more thing. Kim, you mentioned people not being able to pay rent. If you know anybody that's having issues with making rent, whether they are a landlord that needs help because they're not getting rent into their system, or if you know somebody that is needing help paying rent, they can go to eprenthelp.org, and they're providing rental assistance on both sides of the coin. So
can you say that again just a little slower?
eprenthelp.org. They're providing assistance. So whether you're a landlord that needs it or the actual renter that needs it, they're doing it for both. So if you know anybody that's not gonna make their rent or gonna have issues, please do so. I know the city was trying to keep in place where evictions weren't possible, but the state overruled that. So unfortunately, that's where we are today. So just keep that in mind. Keep your neighbors in mind, and if you want to know if a program exists, just give us a call and we'll let you know, because there's a lot of programs out there and we try to put it all out there to you, but sometimes it's just too much to put out there. So please let us know, because there's a lot of people stepping up and helping out with a lot of different issues. So if you can think of it, there's probably something we can help with. So just give us a call and we're happy to share that info with you.
Thank you.
And we got one final comment. I just wanted to say in the chat, we have somebody that's new to Northeast, looking forward to more meetings, and he wants to thank Rep. Morgan for your leadership and all of us for working very hard. So welcome to Northeast, and we hope to see you
welcome
at more meetings.
Well, hey guys, remember, we do our best to keep you guys informed. Prior to COVID, we held no less than 5 meetings per month for the community, every Friday morning and the third Wednesday of every month. There's not another city representative in the city that has held as many meetings as we have over the last 3 years. We had our first, and we were slated for our second State of the Northeast address, but and it was very successful. We had over 1,000 people show up for our town hall meetings, our Reimagining Cohen, our State of the Northeast, and that's something that I plan on continuing over the next few years, because there's an overwhelming amount of people that cannot participate on a Friday morning meeting or even a Wednesday evening meeting, but they were able to find time to show up to the State of the Northeast, where we gave them a big overview of everything that has happened and everything that is going to happen. And that's something I plan on continuing to do for this community. No other city rep has ever done that. Only the city and the county does it, but now the city, the county, and the Northeast does it. Okay, so we broke some new ground, and we're not going to let it. We're not going to let any weeds grow over that trail that we blazed, because it's important for this community to understand that they are part of the fabric of the Northeast. I don't care what anyone says about us, which is weird to me. I'm like, the best people in El Paso live in the Northeast. Some of the richest people I've met, I was like, you live in the Northeast? I'm like, damn, really? You worth like $1 billion. I didn't know that. I'm glad I know it now. But most of the leadership that you see in the city, those are sons and daughters of the Northeast. Our CFO, born and raised in Northeast El Paso. We've got fellow city representative Isabel Saucedo, born and raised in the Northeast. Cassandra Hernandez, District 3, born and raised in the Northeast. This is crazy, and there's so many high-level deputy city managers that were born in the Northeast, and I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Born and raised, and still live here. So almost all the top leadership in the city of El Paso came from the Northeast. Lindsay, where did your mom and dad go to school?
Irvin High School.
I rest my case. Okay, so we've been for the last 3 years, we've been trying to change this narrative. I don't know what happened here in the 70s and the 80s, but the bottom line is we're living in 2020, and it's taken me 3 years to try to change the narrative. And what I've found is people in power don't want to hear it. But we've got the attention of a few developers and a few people who are willing to invest in our community, folks, we're going to have a 2,400 acre planned community. So if you've been to Scottsdale, Arizona, that's a planned community. It's where everything fits. It's like they know where the shops are, where the shopping's going to be, where the housing's going to be, where the park's going to be. It's a planned community. Everything that you can possibly think of is planned, to include schools, rec centers. All of that's going out there at the corner of 54 and McCombs. It's a done deal. It's a done deal. Okay? So, and we're not tearing up open space because we made sure that it stopped at Martin Luther King. It's not going up into our dang mountains. Okay, so we've done all these hard things that no one seems to get. But, you know, like, again, I want to thank my staff for everything that they do because I work them very hard. I do. I ride them hard, put them to bed wet. But the bottom line is they come through for me because they care about this community. And I thank you guys for everything you do, Lindsay and Angela. And I thank all of the constituents of Northeast El Paso for giving us an opportunity to show the rest of the city just what the Northeast is made of. Okay? The vibe is still alive, baby.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Lindsay.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us. Sorry we went a little over, but I think this was a good conversation. Keep in mind, we're going to be doing these every Thursday at 5 p.m. So if you can't make one, we're here every week. So please join us. And I actually am finally learning how to use Teams efficiently. So now the call-in number will be the same for every meeting going forward. So you won't have to have a different ID every time. So finally figure that out. Thank you, technology gods, for your help in that.
Thank the universe. Thank you, universe.
Universe, yes. So we'll be here every Thursday, 5 p.m. Please tell your friends, families, neighbors to join us. And then just one little quick plug, because you guys know I always have to plug things. Just so you all know, since July of 2017 to present day, sitting here right now, we have had 173 community meetings. So thank you. I know a lot of you have been at every single one of those. So thank you all for your commitment to that, because that's a lot of time spent in the community and with us. So I just thought that was important for you all to know. That's a lot of meetings and a lot of information. So thank you all for being here. And we only have them because you guys continue to show up. If you guys didn't show up, we wouldn't be here. So thank you all for that. And we'll see you next week.
Thank you all.
You're welcome.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.